Okay, so as discussed, our lesson today is focusing on the usage of apostrophes. And stage one, we're going to start off with stage one, which is to understand that an apostrophe is used to show contractions. Okay, so this is only one of its uses. All right, so let's not focus on anything else right now except for what a contraction is and when we should use an apostrophe. Okay, so before I do anything, I'd like to ask, are there any volunteers? Can anyone tell me what is a contraction? When it comes to using an apostrophe, what do I mean by a contraction? Let's go to Annabelle. What do I mean, Annabelle?
I think a contraction is when you join two words together. For an example, like wouldn't, you you would do would and then N apostrophe T, because instead of putting would not, you take away the O and put the apostrophe, so it would be wouldn't.
Good explanation and great example. Yeah, contraction is when we make something smaller. We bring two things together and turn it into one. So like Annabelle said, would not becomes wouldn't. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. Now, I have overwhelmed you with examples. Look at the screen. There are so many examples. Okay, don't worry, you haven't got to learn them all. But I just want you to sort of scan your eyes over those lists of contracted words. Take a look at what's happening. Now, I'm going to read what it says on the right hand side, and then I'm going to clear a few things up. Okay, so most of the time, apostrophes show that there is a missing letter. However, there are some exceptions. That happens because the words were formed a very long time ago in British English, such as won't equals will not. Now, that sounds a little bit tricky, okay? So let's take it one step at a time. So, starting with the top bit, most of the time apostrophes show that there is a missing letter. So like if we take a look at let's go randomly to this one here, yeah? Is not becomes isn't. And that apostrophe in isn't, let me write it out in bigger letters. So this apostrophe in isn't, right? Like Annabelle said, it's showing a missing letter. It's showing a missing O. It's no longer is not, it's isn't. Okay? And it makes sense, doesn't it? Because isn't does sound very much like is not. We've just got that missing letter, okay? And it's just the way that the English language has evolved, okay? It helps us speak quicker and it helps us write with fewer letters, okay? Now, you don't really have to know what I'm about to tell you, but I'll tell you anyway because it might uh, sort of spark your curiosity. And that is, well, why is will not won't? Surely it should be willn't, right? But we don't say willn't, do we? We don't say willn't. And the reason for that is simply because a very long time ago in the English language, we used the word woe, okay? We use the word woe. We don't use that anymore. And that's where won't came from. So it's not random. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't want you to think it's a mistake, all right? I want you to realize that there are exceptions. Having said all that, the best way of remembering how to use an apostrophe with contractions is exactly what Annabelle said. We're just joining two words into one, and most of the time, we're losing a letter, okay? So that apostrophe, think of it as showing a missing letter, okay? Do not worry about the exceptions. There are exceptions. So, with that in mind, let's move on. Now, remember, on the screen, you don't have to remember all of those, and the chances are you probably know all of those already because you'd have heard them, as you've as you go through life. But take a look at the screen. We've got 10 sentences, okay? Now, the top, the question at the top says, can you locate the missing contraction apostrophes? So here's your first task, right? What I'd like you to do is spend a bit of time reading this text right here and tell me, don't do this just yet, guys, so don't send me any messages just yet, but tell me, do you notice any missing apostrophes that should be there to show contraction, okay? Then in about 1 minute time, I'm going to ask for some volunteers to tell me which line the missing apostrophes are in. So for example, if you think there's a missing apostrophe in the top line, you'd say there's a missing apostrophe in line 1. If you think there's one in the 7th line, you'd say there's a missing apostrophe in line 7. So give that text a read for a minute. In 1 minute time, I'll be back and then I'm going to ask for some volunteers. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Right, so what I'm going to do is work my way down the list. Now, remember, if you want to say anything, do the hands up emoji. I don't know what you call it. Is it an emoji? I don't think it's the same as an emoji, but it's like a react button where you put the hands up. And then if your hands up, I know that you want me to speak to you, okay? So let's start with Alexa. Alexa, can you tell me which line you've noticed there is a missing apostrophe?
On the fourth line, on I can't find my lunchbox, the word can't needs an apostrophe.
Amazing. And Alexa, if I were to write that out without contraction, what would it say?
It would say, I can't find my lunchbox.
I apologize. Let me be clearer. So if I wanted to change can't into two words, or sorry, one longer word, what would it become?
Cannot.
Perfect. Very, very, very good. Yeah, cannot. Very good. So cannot becomes can't. Okay. So you know, the thing to appreciate here, guys, is that you need to be able to do two things. Okay, you need to know how to go from one to the other. So, for example, if it's got an apostrophe, you need to know what it says when it's not been contracted. And if it hasn't been contracted, you'll need to know how to contract it. So, like Alexa said here, well, we know that can't needs an apostrophe, but we also know that if we didn't use the apostrophe, we could simply write its other form. And its other form, of course, is cannot. Okay. All right. So let's go to Thomas. Thomas, can you give me another example?
Couldn't.
What line is that, Thomas?
The first.
First line. Well done. And Thomas, how would I read this had it not been contracted?
Um, Sam couldn't believe it.
Hold on, Thomas. That's what it already says. But if I didn't
Oh, could
contract it,
not.
perfect. Yeah, very good. Sam could not believe it. Sam couldn't believe it. They are exactly the same thing, aren't they? All right, let's move on to Oki and Ari. Oki and or Ari. Um, which line can you see an error in Oki and Ari? I'm not sure if you're talking, by the way. Your microphone is unmuted, but there's no, I can't hear you. Mm, I can't. I'll tell you what I'll do, Oki and Ari. What I'll do is I'm going to mute you because I can't hear you. So I'll lower your hand, but can you do the hands up thing once you found out how to unmute yourself? Sorry, you are unmuted, but once you've worked out how to use a microphone, I think there might be a switch or something that you need to press. But I will be back with you, okay? So keep trying. All right, let's go for Arlo. Arlo, what do you reckon?
I think that the third line, that now he wasn't sure he'd
Um,
need to.
Amazing, fantastic, well noticed. And Arlo, what would that say had it not been contracted?
He had.
Yeah, very good. That's a tricky one because it could be like maybe he would, he had. So you've read for context and you know the answer. That's really, really good. Perfect. Yeah. But now he wasn't sure. He'd remembered everything. He had remembered everything. Fantastic. Well done. All right, let's go to Jordan. Any others, Jordan?
Um, on line 5, if it would be you'd have to put the apostrophe in between U and V.
Awesome. And what would that read had it not been contracted?
You have.
Perfect. Fantastic. Well done, Jordan. All right. Going to quickly go back to Oki and Ari because they've got their hands up. I reckon they fixed it. Oki and Ari, have you fixed the microphone?
Can you hear us?
Oki and Ari, have you fixed it yet?
Yeah.
I'm joking. I can hear you. Sorry, Oki and Ari. Where's the error?
So we were going to do number 5, but we can find another one. On number 10, it says it should actually be don't instead of like you should put the apostrophe after the N.
After the N, right here. Awesome. And had it not been contracted, what would it have said instead?
Do not remind me.
Perfect. Fantastic. I've got a bit of a challenge for you, Oki and Ari. Do you want an extra challenge?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the extra challenge is, I'm going to tell you something right now. There is no correct answer, right? So it's opinion, right? Why do you think an author might choose to write don't rather than do not?
Because he's sort of being not rude, but a bit frustrated.
Yeah,
Whereas if you were not being rude, you might say, "Do not remind me."
I love that. What an answer! I love that because what you're suggesting is that the way that we write words adds tone. Yeah, so it almost adds character to our character, and that's perfect. So in order to answer that question properly, we'd have to literally ask the authors of every book why they chose to do what they did. But the truth is, we're not going to know the answer, are we? Okay, we can only suggest, and I think you're right. I think it comes down a lot to tone. How do we want someone to speak? So very, very good. All right, so we're going to do one more. We'll go to Scarlett. Scarlett, are there any others?
on number 9, and also sorry for being late.
Oh, bless you. You didn't have to apologise, but I really appreciate it.
On number 9, it says that apostrophe is meant to be after U and before RE.
And had it not been contracted, what would it have said instead, Scarlett?
You are always disorganized.
And Scarlett, do you agree with Arianoki about how apostrophes sort of change the way that we're speaking, change the tone of what we're saying, or do you have any other idea?
Yes, because if you were writing a formal letter to the Queen, you wouldn't write don't, you would write do not. And if you were writing it to your friend, you could write don't because they don't really mind.
I love that. So yes, brilliant. So you agree it's all about tone, yeah? We're being deliberate with choices. It's fantastic. Well done, guys. All right. Now there are more, but I think we get the idea here. So we're going to move on to the next bit, which is write a sentence which contains 2 contraction apostrophes. So look at the example that I wrote. They're hoping time goes quickly as they can't wait for Friday. So you can see that I've used the word there, which has an apostrophe, and I've used the word can't, that has an apostrophe, but they're both being used to show contraction. Okay, they're not being used to show possession, just contraction. So I'm going to give you some examples. So if we go back to this page here, you can use any of these, but in the chat box, can you write one sentence that has 2 contracted apostrophes in the next 1 minute? Okay, and I'll speak to you again in 1 minute, guys. I can already see a couple of really good examples. So we've got Oki and Ari, who said they're excited because they don't. I'm going to read that again, but I'm going to emphasize the contraction, okay? They're excited because they don't have to do spellings. Brilliant. Fantastic. Do we have any other examples? That's a good. So if you said Mr. O's cats haven't jumped on his laptop, perfect. Well, really, really good because there are 2 apostrophes, but the first apostrophe, Mr. O's, is possession. So I wonder if you can add another contracted apostrophe to that, but it's a great sentence. If you wrote, I can't wait for Aiden's party on Saturday, once again, very good sentence, but Aiden's is a possessive apostrophe. Yeah, we'll talk about those in a minute. At the moment, we're only looking for contraction apostrophes. But you know what? Even though some of you are giving possessive apostrophes, it's great. It's fantastic that you know that. But we'll talk about them in about 30 seconds. She didn't pass the test because she hadn't practiced. Perfect. She did not pass the test because she had not practiced. Perfect. Very, very good. He couldn't bring his backpack to school, but he wasn't in trouble. Very good. All right, 10 more seconds, guys. And then we'll move on. I can't wait for the school holiday because I won't be going to school. Very good. And finally, Mr. O tried to slow down when he was talking. He shouldn't have apologized. Oh, bless. Thank you. You know what? I do have to slow down. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm trying my best today to speak really slow. Well, not really slowly, but to speak like a normal person. Okay, well done, guys. Fantastic. Shall we move on? I think we're ready to move on. So let's move on to stage 2. Now, this is where we're still talking about apostrophes, but a completely different reason for using them. And we need to be very aware of both the contractions that we did a minute ago and the possessions that we're doing now, okay? So I've written some basic examples. I always think it's best to write simple, basic sentences when explaining something, and I think you probably agree. So a possessive apostrophe is used to show that something belongs to someone or something, okay? So if we take a look at the first sentence, it says, the dog's ball. I know that's not a very exciting sentence, but it does do what it is that we need to be very aware of, and that is it uses an apostrophe to show possession. It shows that something belongs to someone or something. So in this case, the ball belongs to the dog. So it's the dog's ball, okay? Because the ball belongs to the dog. And the next example says Sophie's backpack. And once again, the reason for the apostrophe is to show that the backpack belongs to Sophie. The backpack belongs to Sophie. Therefore, we put the apostrophe to show possession, to show ownership. Okay? So just to say that one more time, this type of apostrophe, the possessive apostrophe, is used to show ownership, to show possession. It's used to show that something belongs to someone or something, okay? And if you're a bit confused by that, we are going to look at some examples, but I recommend also in your own time deliberately writing sentences where you use this apostrophe just so it sticks forever, yeah? Okay, so what we're going to do is look at all of these sentences, which I've just covered them for now, and I want you to tell me whether the apostrophe is being used correctly or not. In order to do that, I want you to tell me what belongs to who. Now, one of these sentences isn't correct, and whoever it lands on, whoever I speak to when we get to that sentence, it's your job to tell me it's not correct. Maybe there'll be an apostrophe missing, or maybe there's one being used that shouldn't be used. I'm not going to give you any clues, so you've got to be really, really observant, okay? So do the hands up thing if you want to get involved. Let's start with Annabelle. So Annabelle, the players' boots were covered in mud. Can you tell me, is this correct? And if so, what belongs to who?
Correct, because the boots are belonging to the players.
Perfect. Or the player, yeah? So it's the player's boots. So we're going to go on to that in a minute, plural possession. But for now, guys, read the word before the apostrophe, yeah? So there's the apostrophe. Read the word before it. It says player. So the boots belong to the player. So it's the player's boots were covered in mud. Just one player, yeah? Okay, let's move on to the next one. So Alexa, is this correct? Can you tell me anything about it?
Oh, it is because you can say the boy's football. It means the boy owns the football.
Perfect. It is correct because the football belongs to the boy. The boy's football, his football, the football that belonged to him, rolled into the road. All right, fantastic. Let's move on to Hayden. What about this one? The teacher's laptop was left on the desk. Is that correct, Hayden? And if so, what belongs to who's the owner of what?
The teacher owns it.
Teacher owns what, Hayden?
The laptop that was on the desk.
Perfect. Yeah, the teacher owns a laptop. The laptop belongs to the teacher. Therefore, this apostrophe is being used correctly. It's the teacher's laptop. All right, let's move on to Scarlett. Scarlett, what do you reckon?
Correct.
Why do you think it's correct?
Because the collar belongs to the dog.
Simple as that.
Dog.
Sorry?
Can I name the dog?
Go on then.
Stanley.
Stanley. Oh, that was the name of one of my cats when I was growing up. Awesome. Yeah, the dog's collar was bright red. The collar belongs to the dog. So at the moment, guys, you've noticed that we haven't yet come to an incorrect one. So that means it is coming. What about this one? Let's go to Oki and Ari. You're next in the line. What belongs to... Sorry, who owns what?
So the clocks on the wall show the correct time. It's correct? I mean, no, it's incorrect. It's incorrect
Okay, right. Good. Now, how do you know it's incorrect?
because
Let me see it.
nothing belongs to the clock.
Perfect. Nothing belongs to the clock. Now, if it says something like the clock's hands or the clock's tune or whatever, then we'd have we could put that apostrophe. But you're right. Nothing belongs to the clock. So then I guess I would follow that up, Oki and Ari. I might say, well, maybe it is correct. Maybe it's showing contraction. So maybe it's not showing possession. Maybe clocks is two words that's been squished into one. So could that be the case?
I don't think so.
Why don't you think so? You are correct, by the way, but why do you not think so?
Because if you have like every word that ends in S, it probably won't make sense.
It's not going to make sense, is it? So, like, the most common a word that's contracted and becomes an S is like is or has, and the clock is on the wall show the correct time. Does not make sense. So I do apologise, Okineri, that landed on you, but you did an amazing job at handling that. It's not correct, okay? So let me go to the next person, and don't worry, we haven't spoken about this, so don't worry if you're incorrect. But Arlo, what should it be instead?
I think that it could be the clock on the wall because the clock is. I don't really know.
No, you did really well. I think you was about to say it, but really, really good start to your answer there. What about Jordan? What do you think, Jordan?
I think it should be the clock on the wall. Just the clock on the wall, because it wouldn't make sense as the clock on the wall show the correct time.
Thanks, Jordan. All right, so yeah, okay, good. Yes, I do agree, that would make more sense. The clock on the wall. The only issue with that, guys, is if that was the case, it would say the clock on the wall shouldn't be shows. The clock on the wall shows the correct time because we use that, don't we? We sort of add the s to the verb there if we're only talking about one object. So I think that there's another solution here. Does anyone else know what the solution might be? Let's go to Annabelle.
I think that it should be I don't know.
No problem. This is a really tricky question, guys. Don't worry about getting it wrong, okay? Alexa?
I think you should get rid of the possession apostrophe because no word in this sentence has the right possessive language.
Oh, but what about if it's a contraction? What?
You
Sorry.
could do
Let me ask it again, Alexa. So what do you think the sentence should say?
I think the sentence should say the clock on the wall showed the correct time.
What about,
So
and guys, I'm being really argumentative, I do apologise, but what about, Alexa, if I said, well, this word is definitely correct, show is definitely correct, what else could I do so that the sentence makes sense without changing show?
you can add
Think about this word here.
the clock on the wall.
I'm, I appreciate, guys, that I'm being really challenging, but I promise you it's for our own good. I'm really making you think about this. So
Or
you
you
do,
can do shows the correct time, like with the apostrophe.
but hold on, we're not going to change the word show. We're only going to focus on the word clocks. What could I do to make it make sense? I'll ask someone else. But Alexa, your first answer was brilliant. We could change the whole sentence, and you're correct. But I'm now going to push you further, guys. What if I don't want to change the whole sentence? What if I want to keep show exactly as it is, but only focus on the word clocks? Can I do anything to that? Scarlett?
You just take away the apostrophe. The clocks on the wall show the correct time.
Perfect. That's it. Fantastic. Yeah, I just take away the apostrophe. If I take away the apostrophe, guys, right? Let's imagine it's not there. I'm going to get some white ink over it. 2 seconds. Oh, no. Okay, let's try that again. It would say the clocks on the wall show the correct time. And this is what the sentence should say, okay? The apostrophe is never used to show plural. It's never used to show more than one. So, for example, if I'm talking about 2 dogs, I'd write dogs, wouldn't I? I would never put an apostrophe here. That's only done if I'm showing possession, yeah? Like the last example, the dog's collar. Okay, all right. Honestly, guys, don't worry if you're a little bit confused. We have to go through this stage sometimes, yeah, to fully understand everything. But for now, let's move on. So, here's your task. Can you write a sentence which demonstrates correct use of the possessive apostrophe? So, can you write a sentence where something belongs to someone or something? So, for example, my example is the physicist's telescope, so the telescope which belonged to the physicist, captured an incredible image. So in the chat box, guys, can you write for me a sentence where something belongs to someone or something? Perfect. Aki and Ari. Perfect, Scarlett. And they absolutely do. My cats do love treats. You know what happened earlier? I opened I don't know if you know, a packet of Dreamies. I opened a packet of Dreamies with such force that the whole bag burst. Dreamies fell all over the floor. There must be about 100 of them. And yeah, the cats had the day of their lives. Obviously, I had to try to rescue as many as possible, otherwise they'd be unwell. But they were very happy. Okay, 20 seconds. All right, let's take a look at some examples. The children's phone cases were very bright. Good. Alexa's blue tack stretched as far as Bulgaria to Ghana. Love it. All right, well done, guys. Very, very good. So we move on. I think it's time to move on. Okay, so you're doing well. Now, the annoying thing about apostrophes is then the fact that they're used in different ways in different situations. So it can be difficult to remember. But you're doing really, really well. And all we have to do is practice, and it'll become easier and easier. Having said that, we're now going to the one that trips most people up. But do not worry, we're going to get this, okay? So stage 3, to understand where to place the apostrophe when dealing with plural possession. Now, let's make something clear. We never, ever use an apostrophe to show plurals. So like I said earlier, we don't write dogs like this when we're trying to say more than one dog. Yeah, like 3 dogs, we wouldn't write that. We'd only put an apostrophe in dogs to show possession, like the dog's collar. Okay, but plural possession, well, we need an apostrophe for the possession part, don't we? So let's talk about what this means, right? So take a look at the screen, guys. On the left hand side, we've got some singular nouns. That's where we talk about one noun. And on the right hand side, we've got some plural nouns. And take a look at how things change. So on the left hand side, we've got the player's boots. Now, something I'd like you to really take notice of is what the word says before the apostrophe. Okay, so let me quickly ask, let's go to, Annabelle. Annabelle, what does the word say before the apostrophe in the top one there?
Player.
Player. It doesn't say players, it says player. That tells us exactly what the noun is. We're talking about one person. So in this case, the player's boots were covered in mud. We're talking about one person, one player. Okay. But if we go to the right hand side, Arianoki, what does the word say before the apostrophe?
Wait, which line?
So on the other, you see where I've drawn the black rectangle? And
Yeah.
players. If you read the word before the apostrophe, what does it say?
Players.
Players.
Players. So can you see, guys, right, that in the first line on the left side, we're talking about one player, and on the right side, because if we read before the apostrophe, it says players, we're talking about more than one person. So it could be 2, might be 3, could be 4, could be 10, yeah? But let's read both sentences. The players' boots were covered in mud. The players' boots were covered in mud. They're both read the same. So that position of the apostrophe is very important because it tells us exactly what we're talking about, what is meant, yeah? Once again, in this case, we've got one person, and in this case, we've got more than one person. All right. So if we were to go and look at another example, so for example, on the left, we've got the boys' football rolled into the road. We know we're talking about a football that belongs to one boy because read the word before the apostrophe. It says boy. But on this side, it says the boys' football. So in this case, the football belongs to more than one boy. Maybe it belongs to some brothers or something. Okay, do we understand? So the tip here, guys, is to read the word before the apostrophe. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, guys, to end this session is: do you think that you can write for me a sentence in which the noun is plural? So take a look at the right hand side. What we need to do is write a sentence which involves a plural noun. In other words, more than one person. So for example, we've got players, boys, teachers, dogs, girls. Can you write a sentence which has more than one person or thing? Yeah, we're talking about plural, so not just one. And by the way, apostrophes lesson is to be continued. There's a bit more we need to say about this. This is the last bit we're doing today, but we need to talk about a few other things with apostrophes, and then we'll be done. Ah, thanks, Scarlett. That's a lovely sentence. The student's tutor, Mr. O, is the best. I'll take that. Thank you, Scarlett. the cat's collars. I love that, Annabelle, because you've also added a plural S without an apostrophe to the noun collars to show it's more than one cat. So the cat's collars, perfect, were bright blue. Very good. Amazing, Jordan. Very good. I love that you guys are putting the apostrophe in the right place. All right, fantastic. We're going to have to leave it there. Now, like I said a minute ago, we need to continue talking about apostrophes next week. So do not worry if you don't have a full understanding. It's completely normal. But what we can't do is take everything in all at once because it will end up getting a bit confusing. Okay. So when we meet again next week for our English, we'll finish off our apostrophe understanding. But you've been brilliant today. Okay. So well done today. Have a great evening and see you soon. Bye, guys.
Alexa,
Bye.